Hello and welcome to the third part of our Endurance Athlete Training Plan series. If you have not checked the other two parts out, please go back and check out those parts now so that you're able to stay up to date on the current information in this video. Make sure you also like and subscribe down below to make sure that you get future content that is coming out for the rest of this series. Before getting into the video, I just want to give you an overview of what's going to be included. As we went through the first two videos, we went through why a training plan is important, what initially gets missed, and why a comprehensive training plan is needed. In video 2, we went over different testing and retesting, why it's important, and what are the consequences of it if it's not done appropriately. My name is Robert Berghorn, physical therapist and owner of Ascent Physical Therapy here in Long Island, New York. In this video, I will be going over what a work capacity is, why is a work capacity important for the endurance athlete, and what failure of developing that work capacity can lead to if not done appropriately. As we've talked about in the past two videos, the development of a comprehensive training plan is very important in ensuring a happy and healthy season. Whether you're a runner, a cyclist, a swimmer, triathlete, skier, you need to make sure that your training plan is appropriate in order to ensure that you're able to do everything without hindrance. Work capacity, if we go back to the pyramid mentioned in the first video, is our next level in that pyramid. Developing a work capacity is very important. A work capacity is the ability to complete a task. Developing a work capacity is being able to complete an activity without difficulty. That can be different from athlete to athlete or person to person depending on what your goals are for yourself. Every single one of us is different, and every single one of us has different individual needs, and therefore the different work capacities that are needed for you may be different for someone else. Therefore, this is more of an overview for you guys and being able to give you the background that you need to take to apply to yourself. Let me give you an example. If we're going to run a 5K and you've never ran before, do you think you can run a 5K? 5K is 3.1 miles. Do you feel like you can do that if you haven't ran before? What if you're a seasoned runner and want to become an ultra marathoner? The furthest you ran was a 10K. Do you think you can run a 50K tomorrow? You need to develop a work capacity. You need to be able to do the activity that you wish to do, whatever your goal is, without the fear of possibly injuring yourself, or if you're an ultramarathoner and you're doing a race that's in the middle of Arizona, of Death Valley, in the desert, possibly killing yourself. You want to make sure that you're completely prepared for the activity that you plan to do. Now, preparing for this activity can mean a number of things. It could be incorporating flexibility and mobility training. It could involve stability training, strength, power, speed. It involves all of it. But you need to be able to develop the basic levels of an activity first before you're able to kind of incorporate those into your training plan. If you have never ran before, or if you're significantly trying to increase your race distance, you want to be able to get individual parts and components so that you're able to develop that ability. If you're a new runner or a new cyclist, you want to start slow. You want to be able to, if you're a runner, you want to do maybe a jog-walk series. Jog a little bit, walk a little bit. Jog a little bit, walk a little bit. You may build up and do 1 mile after a couple weeks. Be able to run that consecutively. Then you go for the next distance. You go 2 miles. Maybe you run the first mile, and then you run the second mile. And then so on and so forth until you get to your 5K distance. Then you're able to run the 5K distance. That's developing work capacity. From there, then you can build upon that and do strength training, do speed training, do power training. And from there, you can develop the work capacity to work further, harder, longer, and be able to maintain a speed and build speed, completing that 5K distance faster than you did weeks and months ago. Without that work capacity, you set yourself up for injury. You set yourself up for compensations. You set yourself up for significant fatigue. burnout, failure, you name it, it can happen without the initial development of a work capacity. Think about it. This happens a lot to people who set those New Year's resolutions. They work so hard compared to what they've ever worked before in their life just because they wanted to join the class that their friend was doing, who's been working out for most of their life. And they feel like they were gassed and had to sneak out the back door during that class. They didn't even get to finish the class because they never developed a work capacity. How many of you think that that person is going to go back? The person who couldn't finish a class, who feels like they can't succeed because everybody else in that class was doing well and they were the only ones who left midway through. That person never developed a work capacity. If you never develop that work capacity, you can't perform like everybody else. Whether you're a beginner or a veteran, being able to develop a significant ability to complete a task is what you need to do first. Not to get discouraged, not to feel like you're a failure, although failure is okay. Sometimes you need to fail in order to gain lessons and be able to proceed and excel in the future. Now, while staying on the work capacity topic, but kind of going off on a little bit of a tangent, going back to what I was talking about before of developing strength, power, and speed, you have to develop a work capacity for that as well because it's different styles of training. It's not just running. Running will not make you faster. Running will not make you stronger. Running will not make you more powerful. If it does, it's just inches and bounds of that. You need to do other things as well, which I will be talking about later in the upcoming weeks. Doing strength training, doing power training, doing speed training, doing plyometric training is all different aspects that need to be included in a training plan. They will allow you to be a more well-rounded athlete. They will allow you to be a more well-rounded person and prevent injury all at the same time. Doing these different kinds of trainings help you develop a work capacity for that specific task. And that specific task can then be applied to your sport when applied appropriately. When doing speed training, strength training, plyometric training, or power training for your sport, it will allow you to apply different levels of stress to your tissues, whether it's your bones, your joints, or your muscles, and will allow you to transfer that kind of training and effort into your sport. But as I continue mentioning, you first need to develop the work capacity to even tolerate the task. Some of us, we can't just go walk into a gym and pick up 300 pounds off the floor for a deadlift. We can't squat down and do 250 pounds right away. We need to start small. Therefore, you may have to do air squats where you're not using any weight or any kind of resistance. You may have to start with two-footed jumps instead of single-legged jumps because you're not able to maintain your balance or stability when doing plyometric training. Some of us may not be able to sprint. If you can't run, how do you expect to sprint? So how do you expect to do speed training? You need to develop the initial baby steps before you can run, quite literally. And that's the point of building that work capacity, giving you a baseline for where you can further expand from so that you can become a bigger and better athlete. So let's recap. We talked about a work capacity, we talked about what it is, why it's important, and how it can be applied. I gave you a little bit of example as well in order to ensure that you completely understand what a work capacity is and how it can be applied to your plan. Taking the baby steps for each individual activity that you do and applying it over and over and over so that you're able to develop a higher level of performance for yourself, so that you're able to achieve your goals much easier, faster, and become a more well-rounded person and athlete. If you like this video, please like and subscribe down below, and make sure that you're tuning in for the future content that will be coming out with the rest of this series. In the next video, we will be going over strength training and also power training to ensure that you are able to maintain the appropriate stability for your joints over the period of your sport. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a great day.